HarperCollins presents The Mistletoe Seller by Dilly Court, read by Annie Aldington. Chapter 1. St Mary Matfelon Church, Whitechapel, London, Christmas Eve, 1859. I found her in Angel Alley, Vicar. The verger cradled the infant in his arms, protecting her from the falling snow. She was all alone, and no one else in sight. Bring her into the warmth, Fowler, before she freezes to death. The Reverend John Hardesty stood aside, ushering the verger into the candlelit church. The bells were ringing out to summon worshippers to midnight mass, and the first of the faithful were already starting to arrive. What will we do with her, Vicar? Jim Fowler gazed down into the blue eyes that regarded him with an unblinking stare. She must be cold, and no doubt she'll be hungry soon. Where will we find someone to care for her at this time of night? And at Christmas, too. Take her to the vestry. My wife will know what to do. A married man himself, with 9 little Fowlers to raise, Jim carried the infant to the vestry, and as he pushed the door open he was greeted by the sound of female chatter, which stopped abruptly when the assembled ladies spotted the baby. "Good gracious, Jim! What have you got there?" Letitia Hardesty surged towards him, peering at the baby with undisguised distaste. "Not another foundling, surely?" "Oh, Letty, that's not a very Christian attitude." Cordelia Wilding, a plump woman wearing a fur-trimmed velvet bonnet and matching cape, pushed past her to snatch the infant from the verger's arms. "What a beautiful child! Just look at those soft golden curls and big blue eyes. She's a little angel." The third woman, Margaret Edwards, the deacon's wife, plainly dressed in serviceable grey linsey woolsey with an equally plain bonnet, leaned over to take a closer look at the baby. "A Christmas angel, to be sure. I believe she's smiling, Cordelia." "It's probably wind." Letitia stood back, frowning thoughtfully. "If you'll stop cooing over her, ladies, you'll realise that we have a problem on our hands." Margaret touched the infant's cheek with the tip of her finger. "Where did you find her, Fowler? Was there a note of any kind?" Jim puffed out his chest, pleased to be able to tell the deacon's wife something she didn't know. Margaret Edwards was notoriously opinionated and very conscious of her husband's standing in the community. "I took it to be of the female gender, ma'am, judging by the lace dress, which must have cost a pretty penny, in my humble opinion." He glanced round the small group, and he realised that they were unimpressed. He cleared his throat. I was taking a shortcut through Angel Alley, and I heard a sound. She weren't crying, but sort of cooing, as if to call out to me." "Very interesting," Letitia said sharply. "But was she on a doorstep? If so, the mother might have intended the householder to take her in. Or was she in some sort of shelter? It's been snowing for several hours." Cowed by her supercilious stare and the caustic tone of her voice, he bowed his head. "She was left in a portmanteau, ma'am." "A portmanteau?" Margaret tapped her teeth with her fingernail, a habit that never failed to annoy Letitia. "I think we all know what a portmanteau is, Margaret." Letitia moved closer to the verger, fixing him a stern look. "Did you bring it with you? It might help us to identify the child. This is obviously a matter for the police." He shook his head. "It was sodden with snow, ma'am. I was too concerned about the little one to think of anything but getting her to safety." "You stupid man! There might have been a clue as to who she is, if indeed it is a girl." Letitia cocked her head, listening. The bells have stopped.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?